America's mayor live from Palm Beach, Florida, a free state, and not a socialist state, and one in which we have a governor that cares about the people. I talked to my friends in blue states, and they find it unusual that a governor actually worries about things like the education of the children and whether there's too much crime. And in the blue states, the issue is, how are the criminals being treated? I mean, are they really being kept in jail? Oh, that's really, oh gosh, it's not going to help if you keep them in jail. I mean, they're going to feel bad.
Right.
Well, I don't get the Mangione problem. I do not, and I got to tell you, this is probably my own issue. And I wish I could get Andrew on the phone. I should call Andrew or Caroline, either one.
Yeah.
Because they're the next generation. I am second generation Italian American Italian, I consider myself. I'm much more American than I am Italian, but I love being Italian. I can't explain it to you. But my second favorite country is probably Israel, not Italy.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I mean,
that's a big.
Well, just for current, even history. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. I don't know which city I love more, Jerusalem or Rome.
Right.
Rome is in some ways the cradle of my sort of ethnic background, right? And also one of the cradles of Western civilization. But what's more of a cradle of Western civilization than Jerusalem? That's the home of my religion, right? That not Jerusalem, really. I mean, that's the home. You know, Jerusalem really is the home of the Jewish religion. You would say that Nazareth and Bethlehem are the homes of the Christian religion. I mean, Jesus came from Nazareth. He was born in Bethlehem, and spent very little time in Jerusalem except at the end when they crucified him, and he came in there. And I mean, the things I can remember about Jerusalem being now also, I must admit, updated by my interest in all the different versions of the Bible. I've got about 5 different interpretations, which comes about from watching The Chosen. The way people used to watch The Sopranos, but it's a lot more uplifting than The Sopranos. This is a new translation from the Catholic Bible Press, and I really I have to tell you, I like the translation. I used a Bible in my recent podcast regarding Tucker Carlson and Fuentes. It was probably a somewhat modernized King James version. I did not like the translation, and when I heard it replayed when we were editing it, I didn't like it.
No.
So I went back. I mean, I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 8 Bibles. Got about 8 Bibles.
That's just right there, yeah.
Yeah, the blue one over there is probably the best one. That's the Ignatius Study Bible, and it really, really is good. It really is good. If you want to look at a very fair presentation of all the different interpretations of all the different words. I now have something similar to that, and this is going to make me deadly with the Quran.
Right.
And I can't even tell you about this until I complete all of this, which I'm going to complete within the next 3 or 4 days. But then I'll tell you the whole story. But when we're finished, we'll be able to do some real research. But this is a beautiful version. There's a beautiful version of the Bible, and I know it's hard. You got to say to people, you got to read the Bible, but you really should read it and pick parts of it and become like an expert on part. If you can't read the whole thing, pick parts of it and become an expert on it. Instead of reading the whole thing, take a part, like take the Matthew Gospel, which is my favorite, largely because it's also my favorite Bach piece, St. Matthew Passion. very much challenged by the St. John's Passion. But I think Matthew's a better gospel. I think John is a poetic gospel and a little too egotistical, a little bit too much concerning John. Matthew's is a real reporter's. It's like a reporter reported it. But you should sometime read one. Pick a good Catholic or Protestant version, either one, but a good study Bible. And see the different meanings of the words and how it can change. Because we're talking about a translation. The first major translation was into Greek, and the second translation was the Septuagint, the Latin Septuagint. And so in either case, you're kind of working off secondary or tertiary material, and the words can make a difference. And of course, if you're a lawyer like me or a rabbinical student like the geniuses who are rabbinical students, these words become very important. But let's get back to the news. Mangione. I'm embarrassed because I'm an American of Italian descent. Now, I shouldn't be. I mean, there are lots of criminals running around that aren't Italian, a lot that are, and the mafia, although they've reared their ugly, stupid, dumb heads a couple of weeks ago, are a little shadow of what they used to be. And Italians are very much Italian Americans. American Italians are very much a part of the mainstream, and among the more, I think maybe I'm fooling myself, but among the more patriotic Americans, along with I think the ethnics, what I call the ethnics, those are the Jews, the Irish, the Italian, the Polish. Who am I missing? The Hispanics. I think they are the real Americans. You know, they came here. They understood it. They understood it from the beginning. Nobody had to teach it to them. My grandfather was no different than my Irish friend's grandfather or my Jewish friend's grandfather. When they came here, they became American. And when people like Fuentes and Tucker Carlson say, you know, Jews have dual loyalties, like hell they do. They're enormously loyal Americans. Now, do they love Jerusalem? Of course they do. But you can't be a Jew and not love Jerusalem. Like you can't be a Catholic and not love Jerusalem. And Rome. And you want them to be safe and secure and preserved. It doesn't mean you're giving up your patriotism to the United States. And the two are very much intertwined because this country is a Judeo-Christian country. And I say Judeo-Christian because even at the beginning, there were Jews here in America, right at the time of the Constitution. But even if they weren't, Judeo is built into Christian. There ain't no Christian without Judeo. That's why there's an Old Testament and a New Testament. And if you are a very, very devout Christian, the most devout, and you love Jesus Christ, and you have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, which I hope for you. You have a personal relationship with, as a man, a Jew. Jesus Christ died as a Jew. All his apostles were Jewish. He respected the religion very, very much. He didn't come to change it. He came to fulfill it. And he didn't want you to do anything but love his brethren. So this whole idea of anti-Semitism is so sick. It's so sick. I mean, Jesus would straighten it out so quickly if he came down. Be like what he did. Well, maybe not, because he only did that once when he took care of the money changers. But what is this thing with Mangione? Tell me what this is, Ted. What's going on? Why are these people, this man in cold blood, assassinated the CEO of a company who I don't think they can point out one thing that poor man did directly. He killed him because of a system that he feels is unfair, with no evidence that the man himself ever did anything unfair.
Right.
And the system is unfair the way life is unfair.
Right.
Because the system, the people who exploit the system are as much to blame.
Right.
So sure, you have companies that deny claims arbitrarily, and you have people who make false claims. The people who more or less are supporting him, right? So you have the people who have insurance and the people who are in the business of giving insurance. Where are there more wrongdoers? What do you think? Do you think there are more wrongdoers at the level of the insurance companies that turn down claims? Or do you think there are more wrongdoers among the people who make false claims?
Yeah.
Now, my perspective is a little warped by being mayor of New York, and we had 90,000 claims against us at any given time for the most ridiculous. Like, I tripped, and I'm paralyzed. Then we go take a picture of the guy who's running the marathon, and there's a whole group of lawyers in New York and a whole group of doctors in New York who conspire together to do on an assembly line basis false claims. And I'm talking about cheap. Now, not cheap, they can get $1 million, $2 million, but I'm 10 million. But I mean, I'm talking about really the slime of the legal profession and medical profession. At a higher level, you got plenty of that going on too. False insurance claims. When you put out one of these advertisements, right? Everyone who was within the vicinity of Fort Boom Boo Boo for 10 years, please come forward and you'll be part of our lawsuit and you'll get money. Well, some guy all of a sudden, gets a false lease and puts himself at Fort Boo 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 right nearby real quickly. And half the people that get compensated really deserved it, and it really is nice. And half the people that get compensated are total cheats. But nobody really gets compensated the way they should because the lawyers take most of the money. Have you ever looked at the class action settlement? Have you probably have gotten notices that you're part of a class action, have you? Yeah. It's not worth putting it in. I mean, I've looked. I get one and you say, "Wow," and you put it in. Oh, I get $2.49.
You're right.
And the lawyer got $20 million for the case. This is part of the corruption of our judiciary and legal system. That, having been disbarred, I'm not so sure I'm not the lucky one.
Yeah.
But so what's going on with this Mangione? These silly kids, or whatever the hell they are.
He's got a whole following.
Described in the Post by Kevin Sheehan, Emily Crane, and Alex Oliveira as, I have to give them credit for this. This is a great sentence. The ghoulish, goo-eyed supporters. The ghoulish, goo-eyed supporters, including several dressed as the Luigi character from Super Mario, lined up outside the courthouse where the Ivy League accused assassin appeared before a judge. Mangione, the 27-year-old son of a wealthy Maryland family who graduated from the University of Pennsylvania, is charged with executing the head of America's largest healthcare company on a Midtown sidewalk a year ago. We've been camping out since Saturday at 9 p.m., said a young woman named Ashley. Of course, named Ashley. It would have to be named Ashley. Who is part of a trio of women dubbed the Mangionistas.
That's
now, what is it? Please, you're a social scientist. Tell me what it is.
I mean, well, let's bring up these pictures here.
Do you think looking at these pictures are going to tell us why they're wacky? There's one named Lena. She's an Instagram singer. What the hell is an Instagram singer?
She
said she
sings
thinks
on
the evidence against
Instagram.
Mangione was planted. I have a couple of theories what could be going on there. Please, Lena, keep your theories to yourself.
Right. It's like what? Let's see if we have a picture of her here.
Basically, I feel like if Luigi is the guy, he was too smart to just be found 5 days later with all this evidence on him. Why do you think he wants to suppress the evidence, Lena? Why do you think he's moving to suppress it? Look at it. It's one. It looks like the guy over there looks like Mondami, the guy up in the what would it be my right hand corner, but I guess your left hand corner, the one with the whatever that is, animal or something.
Oh, yeah, what?
It looks like Mondami.
He does.
You think Mondami was there?
Well, that would be
The communists have taken up Luigi's cause.
Quite something.
He murdered a human being.
Shot him in the back.
Cowardly little bastard shot him in the back. A man who ran a company. The company may have done some things wrong, may have done some things right, like you do in your life, right? You do some things wrong, you do something right. It's not a big criminal. The company is not a big criminal. It's a human company in which they probably have people on their side who cheat, and they have a whole lot of people who come to them cheating, which may in fact have an impact on their own attitude, which it shouldn't, but it may. This is something where right and wrong is not clear. It's extraordinarily complex. And to think that you have the right to take a human life. I mean, here they are going after the military for shooting down the drug dealers, right?
Yep.
Saying, oh, well, they didn't have any. Well, this guy had not the single bit of evidence that about any specific wrongdoing. None. And he just took the man's life away. That's frightening. And it's frightening that a group of young people would no matter how freaky they look, would gather around him. I just have a very, very hard time, accepting it and seeing it.
It's absurd.
Then now we look at the Islamic extremist murderer who killed one National Guard woman and came pretty close to killing the other, who now seems to be surviving. And I really do think that, oh my gosh, what a beautiful young lady. Every time I see her, it breaks my heart. Look at that beautiful smile. And you can get a feeling, what a fine young man. God bless you, Andrew, that you got through it. God bless you. And I know it's going to be really hard on Andrew. It's going to be really, really hard because I went through this on 9/11. It's going to be hard that he survived and she didn't. But it's not your fault, Andrew. God makes those decisions, and He's got a reason for it, and we'll find out what that reason is. But we'll know that reason.
Yeah.
But God makes those reasons, and she's probably in a better place. So she is in a better place than we all are. But now the story, now the thing has to be, how many of these guys do we have out there? How many of these, according to our Secretary of Homeland Security, and there's no reason, there's no reason to doubt this. It could be that he was radicalized before he came over. It could be that he was radicalized here. It seems more likely it happened here.
Right.
Which is actually in many ways. Oh, please, you got to put that face up there. Look at that. So he comes in on an airplane with thousands and thousands of other people from Afghanistan. He was working with us. But if you have any knowledge of people who do this, some of them are wonderful people and they're terrific people, and some of them are opportunists. I mean, you can't. And some of them we may be taking advantage of. They're sick, really sick people. You just don't let them all in. I mean, these people were let in and at the time, the moron president was warned. He was warned that this would be a major problem. That he was taking these people in without proper screening. That he should have set up a place where they could be vetted first to find out if they should be coming into the United States or not. It sounds emotionally appealing. Well, they help the United States. They work with the United States. Look, I work with a lot of people. To put a lot of bad people in jail. I wouldn't take a lot of them home. So the mere fact they work with us and helped us doesn't mean they come to the United States. There's a little more checking has to be done, unless you want this to happen. And here's the real issue. We don't know how many of them there are here. We haven't the foggiest idea. Because Biden did to us something that it will take generations to figure out the full magnitude of. I can't imagine we ever had a more evil president than Joe Biden. And don't tell me he was he had Alzheimer's or he was demented. He was a sick, evil guy his entire career. His whole career was completely corrupt. So we have these two people come to court today. One of them, Mangione, is trying to get the evidence suppressed against him. But he didn't do it. He just wants the evidence suppressed.
Right. Right.
I don't want the jury to find out that I had everything there that proves that I'm the person who killed. I mean, it's really amazing. The cops didn't go get a warrant. Okay, I understand the Fourth Amendment issue there. And I even understand the gravity of it. But it has nothing to do with innocence or guilt.
Right.
You know, I had an assistant U.S. attorney once who was a former Marine, tough guy. And he was in front of probably one of the legendary judges in the Southern District. And the judge suppressed all of the evidence that had been seized from the drug dealer, massive amounts of drugs.
Right.
And when it was over, he stood up and he said, Your Honor, we've got about 50 pounds of heroin and cocaine here. Should I give it back to him? The judge went crazy. The judge held him in contempt. And I had to go get him out of contempt. I said, Judge, he was a little emotional. You know. Should I give it back? Should I give him the drugs back?
That's
so this guy is guilty as Mangione is guilty as you can be of a cold-blooded, unjustifiable, horrible elimination of human life, for which really he should get the death penalty if New York were a real state. And then the other one is a product of a 1,400-year conspiracy to kill Christians and Jews, called Islamic religion. Extremists? We'll call them extremists, but it's in the Quran. It's just as much in the Quran as the stuff is in this book. To kill Jews, to kill Christians. And they've been doing it from the day they started and haven't stopped. The religion was not spread like this religion by Paul and Peter and by preaching. They didn't go to Syria and Africa and preach the religion and convert people by the goodness of their message or the power of their martyrdom. Or they did it the way they converted Iran. Iran was Zoroastrian. And I think the second or third caliph after Muhammad, a direct descendant of Muhammad, brought his armies into Persia. and conducted one of the first genocides that we know of every Zoroastrian was eliminated. Zoroastrians fled Persia, and they forced them to become Muslims. That's how the religion was spread. That's how it was spread on the Arabian Peninsula by conquest. They would come into a village under General Muhammad. They would kill the elders to get attention of the villagers. And then you'd either become Muslim, you'd be killed. And then they came up with another interesting idea, which was we could take money from you. So that substituted very often but you had to be a dhimmi, you had to be submissive, subordinate to them. So it became very much like an organized crime group, extortion, which is the way the whole government of Iran operates now. And this is what we have as a person who assassinated one of our wonderful National Guard soldiers right before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't tell ourselves the truth about it, which is why we're not getting too far in stopping it.
Right.
We got to face it. We got to face the truth. We got to say to our and I still have great affection for him, to President Bush. President Bush, when you got up before Congress and you said Islam is mainly a religion of peace, that is not true. It's not all a religion of war, but it's not mainly a religion of peace either. Much more complicated than that. And it is tied up with the religion. And I know we're afraid to say that. But if we don't say it, we're never going to fix it. And well, here's some good news. President Trump is in great health. Caroline Leavitt very, very happily put out today, or was it yesterday, his MRI. And I don't know, I'm going to sound like him. He's like he's 24 or something. And but he's in great shape. And the fact that they think he fell asleep, right?
Yeah.
I think I used to fall asleep at conferences when I was 24 and stayed out too late the night before.
Right. The man is working. This guy works. He's up at all hours of the night making phone calls. And
I haven't seen him trip going up the stairs yet.
My friend, he'd get called out in class. He would say, I wasn't sleeping. I was resting my eyes. Yeah. So I would tell him. He said that to the professor. Didn't go too well for him, but
the professor
didn't take too kindly to it. No, but I might have actually react. I mean, it was, I don't know, kind of a creative response, but yeah, the guy works nonstop. And let's say he did happen to close his eyes in deep thought for a minute.
Not that you haven't.
Right. Let's see these these journalists and these reporters. Let's see how they did in school. Yeah, they were up and just, attentive the entire time.
First of all, I don't. Do you? Why don't we take a break?
Yeah.
And we have a guest.
We have a very special guest.
And also, maybe we can find. I'm not even sure the video that the Times was talking about, where they say he was sleeping.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a video of him sleeping.
No, they'll take little cuts, right, and make these claims. It's quite bizarre.
They've never caught me sleeping. I don't think.
No. They'll take a snapshot and claim, see there.
I try to look like this.
Yeah. You got the noise is what.
If you got to sit through the crap he has to sit through.
Can you imagine?
If you don't fall asleep, you got to.
Something wrong with you. What are you?
All of a sudden you say, would you like to speak? And the guy gets up there for 45 minutes and tells you, about his experiences in the Boy Scouts.
Right. Well, we'll pay the bills, play some ads.
I always hated, Ted, from the time I was mayor and U.S. attorney, having be the guy at running the meeting.
Yeah.
Because if I was like over here, I could fall asleep a little.
Yeah.
But I was running the meeting. Right. I was running the meeting.
That's
right.
Right. Or sometimes for these big conferences or donor conferences, they get you all in a room. Don't sit in the front. Don't sit at that front center table because you ain't moving all day. Strategically, I position myself near the back of the room.
Yeah. Let me tell you about my problem. Okay, tell me the problem. Well, when I was born, 75 years. Okay, here
Right.
we go.
Or
We're
when
going to take a short break, and we will be right back. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast.
These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
That's how you get Mondami after anybody.
And we're back. We're back on.
Well, I can't imagine that we're so gracious to have you. I see you on.
Katie on every other
I
night.
see you on Newsmax, and I also see you on Fox all the time.
Oh, I try my best.
Yeah, you do a great job.
Thank you.
You do a great job.
Well,
So,
it's a privilege to be here with you.
so let's start with the big. I guess I hate that it's the big story. I think the big story should be what a horrible crook Tampon Tim is, and how I mean I can't the amount of money involved. I mean I did a lot of fraud cases, but $1 billion. The Somalis stole $1 billion.
Maybe 6 billion. Maybe 6 billion.
I think that's a separate fraud. I think there's a different fraud, also under Tampon Tim.
Yes.
But you know the worst part about Tampon Tim? Nobody ever investigated his ties to Red China. They are crying out for an investigation. 30 trips there, educated there on a Harvard program after he got out of college, took 50 kids a year there, paid by the Red Chinese. What is that? Sounds to me like it's a Chinese operative. And nobody would cover that, not even the conservative press.
Yeah, I go back actually with Tim Walz to the shooting that happened in Minnesota. And this school and many schools in Minnesota, I think the controversy is so much wider. Those schools had demanded security and had asked for increased security. And what did Tampon Tim do? He gave men's and boys' bathrooms tampon dispensers. And here's the problem. Instead of security, you got to just say it. Instead of security for the schools, he put in tampon dispensers in boys' bathrooms. He has not prioritized basic needs, basic security for American citizens, not ever since he's been governor. And can you imagine if this guy was vice president?
Yeah.
So the scandal is huge, but I think that it goes down to the basics. When people needed the basics, he provided ridiculousness.
Right.
He didn't provide anything. He
Right.
provided things that were not only unnecessary, but highly illogical and completely irrelevant.
Yeah, and the selection of him as vice president just has to do with the fact that the Democrat Party doesn't care at all about substance or performance, but they wouldn't have had her.
No, and we're going to have Gavin Newsom from my home state of California.
The hair boy.
We're going to have Gavin Newsom, and it's to your point, no substance, no performance, nothing has been delivered to the people of California,
Right.
but chaos.
Right.
And yet,
Is he a better actor?
He's a great actor, and he's a shapeshifter. So now he's really trying to become the man of dialogue after locking us all up and masking us. But this is the tragedy of the Democrat Party, and this is the tragedy of our time. The people have such a short memory. To remind people of what he did during COVID is like distant past. But the thing is when someone exposes who they are, right? You better believe them. And he showed us who he was. He's a tyrant, and he is not going to work on behalf of America. He's going to prioritize illegal immigrants, and he's going to prioritize more ridiculous causes.
So I realized at the beginning of COVID, beginning of the pandemic, I realized something from my background studying communism and socialism and spending a lot of time investigating it in the Reagan era. The Cold War was still going on. I was in the Justice Department. We must have done any number of FISA warrants against Russian spies. And all of a sudden, I see these governors like him and Cuomo and Murphy and your lady, Whitlis, right? All of a sudden, they're kind of enjoying these mandate things. And I realized that there is a connection between their innate socialism and communism, some of which they don't even know they have, because they've been indoctrinated as Marxists, and they just love being tyrants. They go to tyrant right away, like a DeSantis wouldn't do. DeSantis might do his own things, but he doesn't have that. We don't have that desire to go guide people. We want people to run their own lives.
Right. But it goes into
and they want to run they really believe that the state, there's a problem, the state can take it over and solve it. We'll tell you what to do.
It was Ronald Reagan who said, if someone says I'm from the government and I'm here to help, what is it? You should be terrified.
Right.
But this, and I've thought about this, and it's such a privilege to be with you, because I said, how in my lifetime did we go from Mayor Giuliani and Bernie Kerik in New York City to Mom Donnie? How in my lifetime did this happen? And you look at all of the things Mom Donnie's doing: free healthcare, free this, no police. And you see, socialism is what they're calling this, but socialism is always the soft road to totalitarianism, to communism.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because nothing is free.
it's just the economic system of which communism is the political system.
Yes.
And invented by the same person. Karl Marx is the father of communism. He's the father of socialism. And to think there's a big distinction between the two is a terrible mistake, because it always morphs into dictatorship. But the worst part of it is New York City is in terrible shape right now. And if they had a relatively good mayor, just relatively good, they might not make it because of all the damage that's been done to it. But this guy, I don't know. Here's the one hope that I have. Things will get so bad, the city will revolt. Because every once in a while, New York City has done that. They did it when they elected me. They did it when they elected LaGuardia. And they did it back in the 19th century. They voted against Abraham Lincoln. New York City did. The state voted for Lincoln, but the city voted for
Yeah.
whoever was the Democrat. I mean, the Democrat could have been leading the Confederate army, killing their children, and they would vote, and they'd vote for him. So Democrat, we just vote Democrat.
What do you think of Elise Stefanik running for
She
governor
go-
and the
I think-
counterbalance to this extremism that we're seeing?
I think she has realistically, a very good chance. For a couple of reasons. First of all, just the politics that we're talking about, but also a lot of it has to do with the quality of candidates, as we see. I mean, the issues can be on your side, but you're a terrible candidate. The other side's a great candidate. She's a really good candidate, very smart woman, very good candidate, very charming, very human, very sensible. Hochul's a complete numbskull. I mean, she's got two brains and they don't always work together. And all she's worried about is how much money she can get for her husband for the Buffalo Bills Stadium, because she was a local official screwing things around so that they could put the Buffalo Bills Stadium so far out of Buffalo, people can't get there. But his concessions will be there and they'll make millions. She is a product of the crooked, completely corrupt Democrat Party in New York, which apparently is the same as the crooked Democratic Party in Minneapolis and Minnesota and California and Pennsylvania, and they've been that way forever. And for the good of our country, they need to change. They need to get rid of the Democrat Party, become something else, and be a wonderful adversary to us. Maybe somewhat more to the left, but not so far to the left that they're anti-American. If that ever happens, we'll have a much better country. So now, what do you think of? You've been following this. What do you think of this boat incident where they shot down the drug boat, and there's a little piece of it hanging out in the water, and they shoot that down, and now they want to execute them.
Yeah.
I guess Democrats want to execute them.
Yeah. Well, first of all, what President Trump said today in his cabinet meeting was exactly right. I want these drug boats gone. I want them dead. I'm like all of these people. And he alluded to 200,000 people have died from drug overdose in the
Right.
United States. It's way more than that if you go outside of fentanyl, right? Opioid, cocaine.
100%. I've been involved in the drug. I've been involved in the drug effort from the time I was a baby. Just about. I was assistant U.S. attorney in charge of the drug division in New York in 1974. French Connection, and this has been a menace for us. The only president who really took it seriously was Reagan, and he did some real good. And what the president is doing is God's work in stopping these people from sending this stuff in here, because it is a question of demand and supply, both. And if the supply is going to affect the demand, the more there is, the more people become drug addicts,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been flooded with it, and also the legal drugs now.
Mm-hmm. It's an epidemic
Mhm.
of catastrophic proportions, and it also goes along with what I like. I mean, it is subversive to our republic
Yes.
in that it's taking working age, intelligent people that could otherwise be productive, and it's destroying lives. And look, I'm a mother of 4, and to see the president go after the drug cartels, and something that nobody gives him credit for, very, very few people, I'm sure you do, but very, very few people, what he has done with China and the fentanyl precursor manufacturing and getting them to heal. He brought China to heal with the fentanyl precursors. And people want to, again, forget, in California, we had hundreds of thousands of people,
Right.
not just many dying, but falling ill and being actually completely unable to be a productive part of society after the amount of fentanyl they had ingested, if they did not die from it.
Mhm.
So the fact that President Trump is not only going after China, fentanyl precursors, but also the cartels that are bringing cocaine and opioids up, this is historic. And it is actually more to the Democrat Party kind of straight downfall that they cannot acknowledge a bipartisan effort to rid our country of drugs and to get rid of these cartels. Like, how is this not unanimous?
Isn't that it? That's very, very interesting. So if I take myself back to 80s and 90s, it was pretty much a bipartisan effort against drugs and against crime, like the 1994 crime bill that Biden ran away from. I helped to write that. It was a Republican bill. Clinton took it over in his triangulation situation. And then Biden and Schumer, I negotiated it with them. And they were not terribly different than we were about the danger of drugs and the danger of crime and career criminals and how you had to deal with that. If we differed on welfare programs and taxes and stuff like that. Now, the things that are just absolutely evil, and they stand by and they don't care.
It's a chasm.
Yeah.
We used to have where even Tip O'Neill could work with Reagan, and even and Clinton could work with the Republican
Work
Party.
with me.
He could work with you.
Bill Clinton called me the night that what eventually became the 1994 bill was voted down by Newt Gingrich. He called me. I was the mayor, and he asked me to come to the White House the next day. I went to the White House the next day. I worked on him with a rewrite of the bill that finally got passed, and went with him to Minnesota, and worked for the bill. Worked with Newt to try to work it out, and we finally got a bill, which they have all run away from, because they distorted it. But that's a whole different story. But at the time, that 1994 bill accomplished for America some of what I accomplished for New York. It reduced crime.
Yes, but why? This is the greater question. Why are we not? Why is the Democrat Party not even focused on basic principles
I don't
like that
know.
anymore? The Republican Party, it's not only the party now of common sense, of decency, of law and order. The Democrat Party doesn't have a policy anymore. So anything that is Trump, which is common sense, is the Democrat Party is the antithesis to this. So I guess that's really the answer. If it's Trump and common sense, they're going to be against it, even if it benefits the citizens, and even if it reduces crime and reduces drugs.
I'm trying to remember when that started, when this idea is we can't give him a victory. Because
the day he ran. I think the day he announced he was running, they were after him.
I wonder if it started, though, a little bit with Bush, way back. I remember after September 11, right, there was tremendous unity in the country. Democrats and Republicans working together. I would have press conferences. I'd have Schumer on one side and Hillary on the other side, and we were seamless. Here's what I think. I think that they came to a view, the Democrats, that Bush was getting to be too popular, too powerful, and they had to start not giving him so many victories. And they started going after him and trying to destroy him. And then they finally got what they wanted. They got Obama, who knows what he was. And then when they got this guy who doesn't play by their rules, this frightened the hell out of him. But I think it actually that whole idea of don't give them a victory started somewhere after September 11, when we had gotten to the height of our sort of patriotism. And they realized, oh my goodness, this is not good for us.
Yeah.
We're making this guy too powerful.
Well, I have to say, I think it's happening right now.
Because they really went after Bush. And they took like the economic crisis of 2008 and made it into like the next depression. Yeah. Kind of like what they did with January 6th.
Yeah.
And they made it into Pearl Harbor. I mean, it wasn't Pearl Harbor, it was January 6th. Right. And 2008 was 2008. It wasn't a Great Depression.
Yes.
It was not good, but it wasn't a Great Depression.
Well, I think that's when they learned that they could leverage the media against the president.
Yeah, I don't think they knew they owned the media as much as they did.
And now this is happening, but it's right now we have factions in our own party. President Trump has united the Republican Party like no other modern leader, even more than Reagan. He has united the Republican Party,
true.
And it was at an incredibly divisive state when he inherited this mess. And as the Democrats and even many of the neocons watched this unity happening, I think right now what we're seeing are these factions splintering off, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and kind of this whole under movement happening. And I think that it's so subversive to what he's trying to do for America First policies right now within our party.
How substantially is it? I keep thinking, hopefully that's just you always have small, unhappy minority. But is that a Marjorie Taylor Greene? I have a podcast out right now. I'm putting out another one about Fuentes,
Oh, good.
who is evil. It's not even arguable. I mean, what he's saying about Jews and what he's saying about the Nazi, it's just the kind of it. It's like he rehearsed the Nazi program, and there's no reason why we shouldn't say we're not Democrats. We don't get pushed around by the squad.
Well,
we decide that we don't want people as part of our organization representing us that hate Jewish people, that think that they're Christ killers.
Correct. What we saw with the assassination of Charlie Kirk was this vacuum, right? This vortex that was left, especially for young men, a voice for young men that were coming up and young women.
Mhm.
But what Fuentes has done, and it's not that dissimilar to Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination and the rise of Malcolm X, the Black Panthers, the Freedom Riders, what we're seeing with Fuentes and this kind of insidious ideology is it's trying to attempt to fill this vacuum right now that Charlie left. And extremism is born when we aren't quelling the storm, right?
Yeah, and
right now there's a storm and there isn't a voice kind of taking Charlie's place. So Fuentes is gaining power because in the absence of good, evil, right? Evil is thriving. And so there has to be a counterbalance.
So he's a very manipulative guy. And do you think that's what he's deliberately trying to do?
I don't,
with the criticism of Mrs. Kirk and
I think that it's right.
He's become a real enemy of Turning Point. I mean,
Correct.
He hates Turning Point.
Correct. And you see it happen. It's wide open. There's room for the division to take place, and they're seizing this opportunity. All these people are grifting, and they're in the opportunity right now to seize a moment, to gain momentum and power for themselves, and and it creates disunity. But they're not after unifying the Republican Party like President Trump was. They're after dividing it, and they're after grifting what Charlie built. And it's actually very painful to watch.
Yeah, it is.
Charlie built something so good and so wonderful. And it's being, they're trying to level this with these blows. And I think
very,
it's
very good
sad.
analysis. And we're not going to have Trump around forever.
Right.
And Trump can hold it together.
Yes.
Like if Trump just says, stop it, they'll stop it. Or at least enough will. And he'll have enormous numbers of people behind him. But right now, there is no other Trump.
Right.
There's no natural heir.
Right.
J.D. Vance, Rubio, but there's no Trump.
Right.
Just like there was no Reagan. I mean, Bush wasn't, I loved the old man. I loved the elder Bush. He's a very, very good friend. He did wonderful things for me, but he wasn't Ronald Reagan.
And there won't be another Donald Trump.
We won't get one until later. I mean, they come along every once in a while.
It's almost the Alexander the Great, and Winston Churchill, and the George Washingtons and the Abraham Lincolns. This is the President Trump. To live in the time of President Trump is such a gift because not all periods of history are weighted equally. There are big moments.
Yeah, this is so painful for the people who hate him. But he will be one of the most significant presidents ever.
And at this turning point in our nation's history, where as Thomas Jefferson said, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance.
Yeah,
and he has relit that flame. But it's up to us to continue carrying the torch. And I don't think many people want that responsibility because look at what he's had to go through to carry the responsibility for the republic. I don't think anyone looks at this and says, wow, I really want to go after, getting indicted and having my home raided and my
maybe
family
I don't
targeted.
maybe I don't have the internal. I mean, the man is, I know him for 40 years, so he's a very close friend. And he's somebody who I know in great depth. And he is exceptional, and it's real. This isn't like somebody who puts on a good face and goes home and cries. This is somebody who puts on a good face and goes home and plays golf.
Yeah.
And wants to win.
Wants to win, and he's winning for us right now.
And wants to win when he plays golf. And
he's crushing.
And it's somebody that comes home and he wants to talk about politics. He also wants to talk about how the hell did the Yankees do so bad? I mean, he is. There is an exceptional strength that he has, and I really think it's real simple. It's the same thing with Reagan. President Reagan is the only president I ever worked for. I never worked for Bush. I never worked for President Trump. I was his lawyer for 4 years, which actually was better. But it's a love of America. One of the books about Reagan is very, very hard, very sad in a way. And I knew Mrs. Reagan better than I did the president. I got to know her really well being on the board. And the book concludes that they had a wonderful love affair. I mean, they just loved each other tremendously. And he loved her and she loved him. But she always realized that he loved America more. That was true.
Well,
there was a thing about him that he had a love affair with America. So does he. So does Reagan. When he grabs that flag and holds it, that's like real. I know him. I know that patriotism is there from way back.
well, that wouldn't be a mistress that one should worry about.
Yeah, no, she didn't.
Right? No,
And she
I know she
didn't.
didn't.
She was about as wonderful about as wonderful a partner for him as he could possibly have, and so is Melania.
Yes.
No one realizes how much help she gives him, and how much strength she gives him, and how much he relies on her.
Yes, and she's strong, and her presence is such a welcome.
Yeah, you can see it's something. He's so open. He's much more open than Ronald Reagan. With anybody, he'll say, "Well, Melania's not going to like this." So he knows where she's criticizing him and where she's trying to direct him. And
Yes.
well, Melania's not going to like this, but
My favorite, when he sees the picture of the turkeys he's pardoning, he said, "Oh, I saw this picture. It looked like Chuck and Nancy." And then I thought, I'd never pardon them. I don't care what happens to them. Even if Melania said I needed to, I wouldn't do it. This is so funny. He was able to just bring that in, but she really tempers the situation, and because she's not so political, she has a warmth and an endearing presence and just a beauty, and again, a timelessness. And Jackie Kennedy and Mrs. Reagan get all of this credit for being these wonderful first ladies.
but she deserves the same.
Melania is similar to the president.
Yes. She deserves the
She's
same.
one in the 250-year mark where it's like we haven't had a first lady like Melania.
Not even close.
Not
And it's a
even
shame.
close.
It's a shame.
Intelligent, speaks 7 languages. She
Yeah,
holds back so much of her intelligence and elevates her husband, which is, I think, just the definition of love.
That's a very, very good point. That's a very, very good point. So what's going to happen with the boat? What are they going to do? I mean, are they going to try to hang these people if it turns out that there's a big separation between? Here's what I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to find out how much time took place between hitting the boat the first time and then hitting the boat the second time. Now, as a lawyer, if I'm defending them, the closer in time that is, the better off we are. Then it's one continuous incident. They were supposed to destroy the boat. Here's part of the boat. We got to destroy it. Now it's a half hour later, and there are these people hanging on the boat. It's a little different, and we got a bigger problem. And I'll figure out how to defend that too. But
Well, what I like to hear today is the president emphatically and very, very directly said, "I support Secretary of War Pete Hegseth."
Yeah.
And I'm behind him.
yeah, but they've been trying to get rid of Pete from the day
Of
he got
course.
there. And Pete has turned out to be just what the military needed. They needed a guy who could lift their morale.
Yes.
I mean, they have terrific people. Steve, the deputy, is tremendous at. I mean, he ran one of the biggest financial institutions in the country. I mean, the guy is terrific at the details of running the department.
Yes.
But Pete knew exactly what they needed. Their whole morale has been turned around on a dime.
Yes. Yeah. He's doing a great
They're
job.
warriors. They're fighters. They're killers under rules and for humane reasons. But they're there to kill for us, to protect us.
To protect us.
Because we have extraordinarily dangerous forces in the world that want to destroy us and our children.
Yes, correct. And you have to have a strong military. Peace through strength does not exist with a weak military. It
Yeah.
only exists with a strong
They
military.
were destroying it. Maybe it's the worst thing in the world they did. I look at the woman who got elected in New Jersey as the governor who cheated in the Naval Academy. What the hell is she doing as a governor? Well, I mean, this is ridiculous. She never should have been a naval officer. They waited 8 months to discipline her and made her a naval officer. And she will not release her records. And there's either one or two possibilities: she cheated, or she ratted on the people who cheated. And what the hell is she doing as a governor? She was a terrible congresswoman.
Sure.
But
Democrat Party.
but that's what we did to the military. We made the military into 80, 90 naval cadets cheat on an exam.
Yeah.
And they're now naval officers.
DEI, feminize it, wanted electric tanks. I mean, you name it. Our adversaries and enemies, especially, I've seen China's military march the streets down Tiananmen, and we see this parade, and it is very, very strict, high formation, uniformity, and our military just didn't have it together at all. And I think that was intentional. I think they were trying to blow out our military.
100%.
And our adversaries were laughing, but President Trump sees this, and we cannot have peace at home. We cannot have peace abroad if our military is not there to back hard diplomacy. The reason President Trump can go around and solve 8 conflicts in 8 months is because these countries know that they take the United States seriously and they take President Trump seriously, and he is reinvigorating our military, which you have to have a healthy fear of the United States military in order to be the boss. So.
You know, it's amazing what's going on with Maduro. He is surrounded by, it looks like Pearl Harbor. Well, we had a Pearl Harbor before we were attacked. He's surrounded by a bigger naval presence than probably any country on earth other than China has. I mean, it's unbelievable. We've got, and China doesn't even have the technical capabilities that this Navy has. I mean, the USS Ford is beyond superior as a not just an aircraft carrier, but a naval fighting force. I mean, just the Ford alone could probably wipe out Venezuela, all by itself. Just the Ford, right, all by itself. A little protection for it, it could take out Venezuela. Meanwhile, he's got 14 other ships there. Right. And what does he have them there for? He's trying to say to the stupid idiot, "Get the hell out of there, because I don't want to kill you. I don't want to attack your country. I don't want to kill you, but I got to get you out of there because, number one, you've been sending drugs into my country for 14, 15 years, and then before you, that creep Chavez, you've been killing young people, but even more importantly, you're trying to work out with China, let them have a port so they can be right next to me. What am I going to go back to Kennedy and let you put missiles in the Western Hemisphere?
That's right.
Not going to happen, pal. We're not even going to get there. I mean, you got too many of these left wingers anyway, and we're kind of knocking them out. And we're going to get rid of you. Meanwhile, Maduro is dumb as a skunk. I mean, he's the dumbest piece of crap you ever met. Chavez was smart and evil. He's dumb and evil. But that's why he's not getting out. He'll eventually have to kill him.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. I don't think he's leaving any other choice. The guy's got to be out of his mind, getting up every morning and looking at the biggest fleet he ever saw in the history of his life, right out there, ready to just any one of them could put a little bomb on his head.
Right. Well, before we let Katie go, Mayor, we got to ask her for updates in Los Angeles. Our first time having her on, I believe, was last year with the fires.
Yes.
11 months ago.
The fires when the fire hydrants, as a mayor of New York, and the fire hydrant's not working.
Right.
There's no such thing as fire hydrants that don't work.
Well, they're not building new homes anytime soon. The permits are very, very slow process. As a mayor, you could probably understand how frustrating and upsetting what Karen Bass has done, not just to the Pacific Palisades. She's trying to demask our ICE agents. So is Gavin Newsom. And so they get doxxed, and we all know that's a violation of the Supremacy Clause. But yet they continue to do this. They continue to wage war against President Trump
and the federal government.
At the cost of having homes. These people lost their homes. They're not interested in building homes. They're not interested in bringing down gas prices. We have the highest electricity prices and gas prices in the nation in California. And instead of working around the clock to try to make deals and bring these things down, what are they doing? They're fighting President Trump to demask ICE agents. They're fighting President Trump tooth and nail. And at some point, the evidence speaks for itself, and the proof's in the pudding. California is a dumpster fire right now, but literally and metaphorically. And we have not seen very much progress since the fires. It's, Prop 50 passed with flying colors with the redistricting. There are some absolute legal challenges that are available. I know that the DOJ and is suing because of racial gerrymandering, which is a violation.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think what we can say is California is a bellwether, and so is New York. And this, for all listeners, for anyone who's thinking, what you're seeing happen in New York, what you're seeing happen in California, a bellwether meaning it's a signal to the rest of the country.
They want to do yes,
start paying
agreed.
attention to what's happening, because if you don't fight this extremism and you think you're going to go flee, if you think you're going to flee New York and get out of communism, if you think you're going to flee California, it's only going to spread. You have to put out the fire, or the fire will come to you eventually. You're not going to go to a red state and these policies aren't going to haunt you.
Right.
They will come to you. And this is what we're seeing in Tennessee. I warned everybody. I said, leaving California doesn't fix your problems. Leaving New York doesn't fix your problem. You have to stay and fight. This is the call for our republic is pass the SAVE Act and nuke the filibuster. So we have proof of ID and stay and fight in your blue states. That's it. Stop ceding ground, because it's only going to come to a city near you if you don't.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I mean, very well said. I must say, well, I think we got to get you home.
Okay.
You got to get back. You got to get back to that. You got to get back to the left coast.
Thank you.
It really is sad, though. First time I saw Los Angeles and California, it was so beautiful, and it is so beautiful. It's such a beautiful part of our country, and but I understand it as in New York. I live in a city that I was the mayor of, right? And I lived in it all my life, basically. I lived in the suburbs for a while, but I went to high school and college in New York. Well, my parents lived in the suburbs. So I'm really a New Yorker until 2 years ago. They're crazy. They're completely crazy. I mean, how do they vote for him? How do they vote for de Blasio? De Blasio went to Cuba on his honeymoon. Who the hell goes to Cuba on his honeymoon? A communist or a jerk? His mother was a communist. His wife stole $1 billion. Nobody investigated it. It just walked out with it. And marijuana was coming out of Gracie Mansion like he would show up 2 hours late for press conferences. Who shows up 2 hours late, brother? The drug addict.
Yes, there you go.
I mean, I knew enough about drugs. The minute it's so strange. De Blasio always shows up an hour late. Man, that was the number one signal that somebody was a drug addict.
Yeah, there you go.
And he ruined the city. This guy's gonna make it worse. But I just have hope. Somehow the Democrat Party is gonna have like a rejuvenation. They're gonna realize they have to get rid of the name, because the name is a curse. It's the party of slavery. They got to get rid of the name. If they want to change the name of the Cleveland Indians, they got to change the name. They got to change the name of the Democrat Party.
That's great.
But you do a great job.
Oh,
absolutely great job. And you understand the West Coast so well. It really is very, very useful to hear it. Thank you. God bless you. Have a safe trip back. You going back tomorrow?
Yep, tomorrow morning.
Okay.
All right.
Catch her on Fox, Newsmax, probably tomorrow. If not tomorrow, very soon.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a short break, Mr. Ted, and we'll be right back.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. Are we back on?
And we're back.
Oh, we're back. And well, that was really interesting, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, what a great perspective on California, huh?
On all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, particularly on California.
You should run for office.
Somebody has to. I mean, I wish I could give you a quick answer to this. Like what's going to happen in New York and California? I wish I could give you like a quick answer. I can't. I can't give you a quick answer to it. But something's going to happen. It can't stay like this. It can't stay like this forever. That just won't work. So we have right now on our subscription channel a podcast. We have part one out. Is part two out yet?
Part two is out.
Part two is out. And this is an analysis of not just the interview of Tucker Carlson with Nick Fuentes, but of Nick Fuentes. And I really urge you to watch it because it has to do with your future. This is not just a little detour and kind of a bunch of Republicans fighting with each other internally for turf and this sort of thing. And maybe with Tucker it is. But Fuentes is a very, very dangerous young man. The things that he says are beyond the things that normal people say.
Right.
If he were writing this in little diaries, and I mean, this is the kind of stuff you discover that people wrote in little diaries when they do something horrible. The hatred is palpable, and it comes out like that. The hatred is like, it isn't. There is an element of him where you say, well, maybe he's doing this in order to get views, or in order to get attention, or it's a marketing thing, and that it is in part. But then when you watch him enough, and unfortunately I did, and I know people, particularly disturbed ones, really well. I'm going to tell you, and you can go to the bank on this. This guy's a dangerous guy. He's not just dangerous for our party, and he is really dangerous. He's dangerous for our party in that he will allow them to associate us with things that we have gotten rid of, that we brushed off, we've gotten rid of. Anti-Semitism, hatred of people, this vicious anger. But he's dangerous for our country because who knows what he's tapping into, and maybe not him, but somebody else. It's impossible to trace. It's impossible to trace these things directly, like a diagram. You know, some Islamic terrorist kills someone. Who caused that? How did it happen? Or somebody all of a sudden kills Charlie Kirk. How did that all happen? And we know it happened somewhat directly, and somewhat because of the atmosphere that's been created. But we don't know all the elements of it, and maybe we don't know enough about the human brain to understand completely all the elements of it. But it's somewhat like Justice Stewart said about pornography. I can't define it, but you know it when you see it. And I know hatred when I see it. And this guy is filled with like hatred. To say that you admire Hitler, and then to go on with details of why you do, so that it isn't just like a throwaway sentence to shock. It's something he's actually studied, and he's read the books written by the insane Hitler lovers. He's incorporated. He calls them great historians. They weren't historians at all. They were people who were ignorant, made up history, sick people, and that's who he's following. And it's not just it's something he's really spent time on. So I really would suggest that you spend a little time watching this, because he is going to make an attempt, as we were just talking about. He's going to make an attempt to take over let's call it the youth movement, or the young people, or the younger people who are in the Republican movement. And we do not need a disciple of Hitler, an admirer of Stalin, for reasons that he can articulate, doing that to us. It'll destroy us politically, but most importantly, it'll destroy us morally. This is a moral issue. This isn't just a political issue. It's about what the hell we are like as human beings and Christians. And they use Christianity in a way that is completely heretical. I mean, and I think I point that out in the podcast. I mean, they make statements about Christian and sometimes Catholic dogma that's just not true at all. They just make it up to fit their purpose. Well, so I ask you to go on the subscription channel and get it. And there are two parts now that get you up to the beginning of the interview with Charlie. It shows you his whole background, or a lot of his background. We can't show you his whole background, but we show you examples of his background so that you don't have to just listen to me. You can see him, and you can go back and play that again and watch him. Take a look at it and see how dangerous he actually is, and how serious he is about this, and then how angry he gets. So a couple of things I just want to bring up before we sign off for tonight. I'm very, very disappointed with a lot of things in my former city, but there's another one that really, this is just stupid. They approved 3 casinos for New York City, major, gigantic casinos.
Wow. The one in Times Square got nixed, right?
Yeah, the one in Times Square got nixed, but they can have 2 in Queens and 1 in the Bronx. They're going to have one right next to the where the Mets play, in northern Queens, and they're going to have one in southern Queens, which is close to what you would think of as Kennedy Airport, where the Aqueduct Racetrack is. And then they're going to have one at what was the Trump Golf Course in the Bronx, which was a beautiful golf course, and it's a tragedy they're taking that golf course down.
Taking it down.
But here's the worst part of it. This is just what New York City needs at a time like this, when we're invaded by criminals being, there are 7,000 to 9,000 people out of jail that should be in jail, that I would have put in jail at Bloomberg. There are all kinds of problems with the insane who are walking around the streets, and they don't want to put them in the 20,000 beds they have available that they could put them in. I mean, I get them off the street for you in about 3 weeks. We just have to get a crew in to clean up the places where there are empty beds. Right. You want to take a ride? I'll show you where the empty beds are. I tried to do this with Cuomo and de Blasio during the pandemic. We don't have any beds. We don't have any beds. Do you people ever drive around the city? Do you ever take a look at the Goldberg Pavilion? You got 4,000 sitting there. Mm-hmm. I mean, I cannot believe how ignorant and how negligent and how lazy the Democrats are also. They just say things and they're just wrong, and they don't study, and they don't work, and they don't stay up at night thinking, and they don't care about you. And I know it's hard because I'm a Republican, so you don't believe me, but this is terrible for the city. This is a city that's losing business left and right. Since Mondami was even thought of as being elected, the acceleration has been tremendous. What real capitalist businessman is going to want to be in a communist city? Or would you like socialist? Okay, either one. Why would you want to be in a place where your company is taxed more than any other place in the world? When now you can do business online all over the place. You don't need New York. So we're losing business hand over fist. So we need something. And this is also the fault of Adams, who the only reason Adams isn't a terrible mayor is because the two people on his left and right are horrendous, will be horrendous mayors. One was a horrendous mayor and the other will be. But Adams should never have been mayor in New York either. I mean, he was too cowardly to do even what he thought. But he once said that the economy of New York City will be built on these wonderful things that we're doing now, legalizing marijuana and legalizing gambling. The thing he left out, and this he was opposed to, but Mondami's in favor of it, legalizing prostitution. Mm-hmm. So New York City is going to be built on the income that comes from something that makes you crazy, drugs, deteriorates your brain, encourages violent behavior, encourages degenerate and perverted behavior, and makes you non-functional, drugs. It's going to come from encouraging the maximum number of women to sell their bodies and take advantage of them. And that can become an addiction also. And it's going to come from something maybe a worse addiction than drugs, gambling. The gambling addiction is by far the most understudied, undertreated form of addiction that we have. And one lady in discussing all these beautiful there's a Hard Rock casino at the City Field near the Mets. I mean, when would Major League Baseball have ever allowed a gambling institution right next to it? I mean, I remember when Pete Rozelle threw Paul Hornung out of football for a year because he talked to gamblers, or told.
I didn't know that until you told me.
Told Joe Namath he better get out of his bar because there were organized crime figures involved in it. Now, do they advertise gambling on football?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the biggest advertisers. I'm willing to bet. No, I shouldn't say that. I'm guessing.
No, we've already seen some indications of the infiltration into the integrity of the sport. We've seen a football situation and a baseball situation, right? Well, basketball and baseball situation, in which they deliberately threw balls, or they deliberately took themselves out of a game to affect the over and under on their own performance. So we've already seen that the integrity of basketball and Major League Baseball have been pierced by this horrendous amount of pervasive gambling, which was predicted. It's not as if it's a surprise. And it's got to be going on in football, because I think people gamble more on football than anything else. I remember one of the things we used to do just to keep a track on the mafia and their involvement was every Saturday before the Super Bowl, we'd raid all the gambling institutions in New York. Uh-huh. And it was massive then. And if you think that legal gambling reduces illegal gambling, you're out of your mind. It's the same thing with marijuana. That's another complete fallacy. legalizing drugs just creates more illegal drugs. It grows the market. Then they want more. And they want it better. And they want it in ways that the legal institutions can't figure out how to do. I mean, they're not going to put fentanyl in there for you, hopefully.
Right.
And you can go back to my podcast with Michael Francis, who was a member of organized crime and a major producer for organized crime, who tells you the best thing that ever happened to organized crime is legalized gambling,
Right.
and legalized drugs,
Right.
which just grew the market tremendously. So now,
Well, you've been saying, I mean, Mayor, the second I was working with you 3 years ago, you pointed out, the problems with gambling. And again, I only did $5 bets, but I really, that got me off of it. And now we're seeing all these problems. It's again a situation where Rudy was right. We're adding that to the list.
The bigger you make gambling, the more attractive it becomes to more people.
Right. And so we've seen.
So you'll lure in a person who has an addictive personality. They don't know that they do. But I mean, not everybody does. So you say, oh gosh, I gamble and I just gamble a little bit here and a little bit there. Well, there are people like that. There's no question. Not everybody is an addictive gambler. Not everybody will take marijuana and become addicted.
Right.
But there are addictive personalities, and might be prone to different things. And there are enough of them so that if you expose it to a large number of people, you're going to have a tremendous number.
Right.
You see those people putting their last pennies into a slot machine. That is a very, very dangerous illness.
You see it at the casinos on Indian reservations.
And as Michael pointed out, there's very, very little resources for dealing with addictive gamblers. There are resources for drugs and for alcohol, but there are none because we haven't.
You don't treat it the same.
No, we haven't had this nationalized legal gambling for long enough to. It's becoming like a massive addiction. It's
coming.
Yeah, it's gonna ruin New York City. Mark my words. They put in these three things. This will be as bad for New York City as Mondami.
Wow.
Because it'll last beyond Mondami. Mondami, they may have a correction for. This, there's no correction for. You're going to lose a percentage of the next generation to gambling addiction. And when I was the mayor, if they wanted to do this, they would have to have done it over my dead body, or with very, very serious restrictions and the number limited. And the amount limited to just very, very rich people, or something like that. If you want to put in some place like a Monte Carlo, fine. But to have three of these things, gigantic.
You would not have been in favor of this.
Oh no! I would have fought this.
Did anyone ever approach you while you were mayor for a casino?
Never even thought.
They knew not to even approach.
No, having taken the casinos in Las Vegas back from the mafia, they weren't going to come to me and try to put casinos in New York. It was my case against the Teamsters and the Central Saints Pension Fund that got them out of Las Vegas.
Yeah,
and I know that history backwards and forwards.
Right.
So let's see what else is really important that we got to. This just stuns me that they're going to put it next to Shea Stadium or Citi Field. I keep calling it Shea Stadium because that's what it was most of the time that I lived in New York. It was Shea Stadium, and the Mets played there. And I was a Yankee fan, and it was a lot of fun being a Yankee fan and being honest about it and getting booed at Shea Stadium. And it was all in good fun. It really was. I never had anybody hit me or attack me, or they know I would hit them back. Because I'm a New Yorker like them. Let's forget it. I mean, no way. So let's pray for the people in Ukraine. There's a lot going on right now. There was a meeting tonight, I think, and I don't know if it was with Putin, but it may have been with Putin, with Witkoff and Jared. I have maybe somewhat different views on this, but let's hope it works out right. That there is no way for the good of our civilization that Putin can come out on top here. We're going to have we're going to be going in a very dangerous direction if he does.
Yeah.
And it will be really hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hope that they push him to make the concessions that are necessary so that we can have a secure Ukraine, not for the benefit of Zelensky. Zelensky's, probably is one of the crooks in Ukraine, but the people of Ukraine are. And the people of Ukraine have become more and more pro-Western as a result of this, and anti-Russian. So this is something that we got to watch very, very closely. So we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow night. We'll be watching all of this. We'll be on Lindell TV at 7. We'll be here at 8. Please get the podcast. Just go over and hit subscription, and we'll discuss that in more detail as more parts of it come out. And then we have another one that I'm working on, very, very getting ready to try to educate you on exactly what Islamic extremism is and what we have to face and what we have to know about it. So it would be a good idea to get on there, and it'll help you and your children, I hope. That's what we're trying to do. Pray for the people of Israel. Pray for the people of Ukraine. Pray for the people of Iran. Pray for us. And pray for our president, who is carrying such a burden. And he's doing it so well, but he needs your help. And we need your help. God bless America. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,